All right, what is going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Wired Sound Podcast. Today we have a guest that has been brought up probably by at least 3 to 4 other guests that we've had in the past as one of the top producers right now. Absolutely killing it. We have Proppa. How you doing, man?
Appreciate it, man. I'm doing great. How about you?
Good, man. Just gearing up for Music Week, right?
Yeah. It's my first time out here for Music Week.
Oh, wait, I didn't know that. So you've never been here at all for this?
No, I made a post the other day. This is my first Miami Music Week, not from my desk.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's got to be a good feeling, right?
Yeah. It's interesting. Like I started to kick the nerves for like touring a little bit, like the travel and playing a show and stuff. Like I started to get pretty good at that part, but for some reason this week, I feel like the way I look at it, I have kind of like gravitated around the industry for a few years, and that this is my first time like actually interacting with the
people of the industry, the people you've been emailing with for
and like interacting with online and stuff, and like I've kind of just like done it all as an outsider. So this is I'm a little nervous, but
so give people a little bit of background, because obviously you've had a big, I call it like a 0 to 100 year, because like you're just everywhere now, which is insane to see.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Like this is like I started Proppa in 2015, so it's been a long ride. Like, and before that I had been producing electronic music for like 4 years.
Dope.
So I mean, it's been a super long ride. During the pandemic, I kind of switched to like just doing these remixes, and like the goal was like to remix songs until I got signed, and then that kind of happened, and then I just kept dropping remixes like nearly every week, because I feel like that was the best way to like advance my sound and like stay busy, continually like showcase myself, because the release schedule for singles like on labels and stuff is so slow.
6 months.
So I was just like, this is how I can control my release schedule. I was also an exclusive contract, so I was like, if I can't control at all my release schedule, I'm going to make sure I can at least.
You had a label deal that you
for a little bit. So I stayed heavy on the remixes, and from that, it's just brought me so much. And then also, like, I think it's really important to stay busy. Like, if you're really trying to be, I know I'm kind of breaking off. You're asking me about myself.
No, that's fine.
I found it's really important to, like, you wonder why DJs have so much content to create for social media, why they always have something going on. It's like, you have to create that stuff going on.
Yeah, you got to create the hype.
Yeah, so me making remixes so much, and then like posting, I was doing proper house sessions, like, and then that turned into streaming every week and stuff, and then back to YouTube, and like creating. A lot of people like, how do you create content? First, you have to create like something, right? Like a song or like
remix,
a remix, like like a mix, like a live mix, something like that. So I always wanted to like something during the week would keep me busy enough that I could like post content around it, and then keep a few more fans coming in and whatnot.
So that was like, as soon as you started Proppa, that was your kind of mentality, like, or did it take you a little bit to get there to be like, okay, I got to start putting stuff out consistently if people want to start paying attention? Yeah,
consistency was the hard part, because like I was doing when I started like Proppa 2015, I was doing like tropical house, future bass, like pretty much everything that was popular during that time. I didn't really love it, but I just knew like Hype Machine was the big thing back then, so you can get something.
Shout out Hype! I used to love Hype.
Yeah, man, you can get something posted on Hype Machine and do like 100,000 streams in a week. It was ridiculous. So I was really kind of in that lane, and I would spend a lot of time finishing tracks, and like I was a big perfectionist and stuff. So that was a big problem for me. And then I tried to make the switch, because I'm a huge fan. I've always loved like G house, bass house, like stuff that's really hip hop inspired. So I tried to make a shift to that, and I was trying to get singles signed, and I couldn't. And so I just held everything in for years, and the pandemic hit. So I kind of just shifted gears and built up a large stack of remixes that I could then start like dishing out, and then I just stayed consistent with that. So it took until like 2021 to like get on this consistent push of releases, and then 2024 I feel like I started hitting the formula a lot better with like the remixes and the originals.
With the content and then
the content. So it took a long time. sometime in the beginning of last year, the content really clicked.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, like, as far as getting your remixes, because obviously, I think pretty much almost all of the biggest DJs in the world have been rinsing out your remixes. So, like, what was that process like? How do did they like discover your TikToks, or like, where do you think they're hearing your music? Was it from record pools, or how do you think they got them?
I think that for the most part, like, you can't really pin it on one specific thing. Like, it's definitely a mixture of things. Like, as far as the Waka Flocka one, I made one video that went kind of viral. I was like, oh shit, there's demand for this song. So I posted it and made another video that went kind of viral for it too, which I think gave it like a really big initial push. And I didn't put that one through no paid service, I think I maybe paid $5 on Hype Edit, whatever. Okay. Yeah, Hype Edit, for that promo, but didn't do a promo service or anything like that, PR service. And it just kind of naturally, it was one of those like really slow rising ones.
Gradually, yeah.
Yeah, because I put that out in like June, and it took until like December for DJs to start really playing it. That one, I remember specifically, it was sitting on my SoundCloud, and at the time downloads were on, which they're not on anymore, but Clooney had downloaded it in one of my other tracks, and I was like, oh gosh, like, how's that gonna end up? And then I was in St. Louis or something, and I started getting tagged in a crazy amount of videos, and Clooney just played it like in Texas or something.
Such a sick feeling, right? It's got to be one of the best feelings.
Yeah, because that was the first, I had some big DJs play my stuff, but that was the first time it was like my own song, not a collab, and it was like a really big crowd, and like, it is like really awesome when a legend plays your track, like really huge. It's also one thing when it's like a DJ who's currently like really hot. Yeah. Like the Stephanie remix wasn't out, or the Stephanie track wasn't out, but it was like starting to get played a lot, and everyone's like, what is this track? So seeing like an actual like current big DJ play it was kind of like, oh gosh, like this is legit. And then since he played it, I know that he's the reason why that one blew up, because I have like a halftime break on the second drop, and he cut the halftime break off for his version, so it builds up and it goes straight to the past the halftime spot.
Like Clooney re-edit.
Yeah, and whenever like when John Summit plays it, whenever a big DJ plays it, they're playing that version. So I know that it came from like he sent it to them or something.
Yeah, that's wild too, to think that they're just passing around your remix. Like,
Yeah, so that one was natural. I mean, we did the Work remix. We put through a PR service, where they just like, it's just like an in-flight release basically, because it's not.
For people that don't know, real quick, for the PR services, you can kind of pay to get your music into DJs, inboxes, right?
They're in-flights. Yeah. And it's never like a guaranteed like that they're gonna play your music, but it's always a good way to like get it in front of them and see if they're gonna like it. And yeah, we did an in-flight run, and there was some big downloads for sure. But the first big DJs that played it wasn't like the ones in the in-flight. So I don't know what happened, but it just had like a really steady growth on Hyped It. And at like month 2, maybe it just started getting played by some big DJs. And
so is that where you think people are discovering your music, like Hyped It, or do you think as far as the DJs? Because I use DJ City as one of like my record pools, but I'm just always curious what other DJs or Beatport. Or,
I mean, I still use Hyped It, to be honest with you. And then one of the big things for me, I don't know if other guys are doing this, guys and gals, but like I'm going straight to my songs on SoundCloud, and I'm looking at the related tracks, and I'm just like continuously going through that.
Grow your library.
Yeah, if I'm gonna play stuff, I want to play stuff that sounds like my own. You're not too close, but like I want to play stuff that's like in my realm. Yeah, and that's what I'm looking for, and it's the people I want to interact with too. So
that's awesome, man. But I'd say at least 3 or 4 Proppa remixes in my sets right now.
That's awesome.
I'd have to look back. I definitely had some older ones that were like a little bit more housey that I
appreciate still play that. I play some of his too.
Yeah. All right, so you're starting to tour, or have you been touring a bit? Like you're starting to get tastes of it?
I mean, the past few years, I wouldn't call it touring. It's always just like kind of, and it's like shout out to all of the like promoters that aren't major backing that like have taken a chance on me in different cities, because the last few years it's always just kind of been like whatever we can put together with smaller promoters, and sometimes it's great, sometimes it's really small, but this past year has been really great. It went from like I started the year with like no shows, and then all of a sudden like I have like I want to say like 10 or 11 in the books for the spring right now, and it's all good shows. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just starting off like the actual like weekend to weekend. Like yeah.
So you haven't experienced that yet?
Yeah, not for myself. I've done a little bit of like touring for other people, like social media for them and stuff like that. But
that's dope. I didn't know you were in the social media space.
A little bit.
Before. Okay.
Yeah.
You dabbled.
Yeah.
That makes sense because your content's really on point. So you kind of brought that into your own.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's cool though, man. Yeah, so we should do an after interview after you've been touring for a bit and see some of your experiences on the road. But I'm sure, have you had any crazy experiences from past shows or just like being on tour with other artists?
Oh man, I mean, nothing too crazy. I think I could say like the person I worked with a little bit was Barclay Crenshaw. Like I was helping out, just like filming his stuff and whatnot. And it was really awesome to get that experience because he's obviously like a legend in the game. Claude Von Stroke, he's been around for a while. Like, and he in it, like he's super nice, but he also runs a tight ship. Like everybody is pretty tame on the tour. Like we're in bed at a good time. Yeah. We're up at a good time. Like we travel very smart. So that was really good to experience. Nothing too crazy. I'm about to be 30 this year, which I think.
Happy early birthday!
Thank you. I think back to like the whole long road I've had, and I kind of feel like it's a blessing in disguise that it's taken like so long, because I look back at like my when my first track hit like 200,000 views when I was like 22, maybe even 21, and like I'm glad that nothing happened for me then. And I look back at like when some other tracks blew up when I was like 24, and I'm super glad nothing had like all the points in my career when I didn't capitalize on something. I look back and I'm like, I'm so glad that I didn't like this. All this didn't happen for me at that age, so I didn't make mistakes that I know not to make now. Yeah.
What kind of mistakes were like? What are you thinking? Like,
you know, like obviously, like number one is taking care of your body, like sleeping a good amount, which I can't say I'm the best at, but I know how to get like good sleep. Like not drinking too much, eating good, just paying attention to your body. That's a huge part of it. You just kind of like you get like tour legs is what I call it. Yeah. And just little things, stuff that the way you react to things is huge too. Like you can't let small things defeat you.
Your mindset, especially before a set too, right? Like you can have some shit happen that really gets in your head before a set, and then if you let that fuck up your set, like the audience doesn't know what just happened.
No, they don't know. People are paying to come see you. You got to roll with the punches. Yeah. You know, you have to like take things on the chin. If you can't get that food before your set, whatever, like people don't care. But yeah, and then you just have to, when it comes to knowing your body, it's also like knowing how you travel best. So like, I'm not a morning person. I know I can't book flights in the morning. If I have to, it's like I got to pull an all-nighter type thing. So just like knowing those things going into it, because I have made the mistake of like booking flights too early and like having to rush to the airport. Yet to miss a flight yet. I haven't done that yet, but
it'll happen.
Yeah, it will happen.
Awesome, man. So, all right. So you're obviously having a ton of momentum with these remixes, and then are labels starting to approach you about some original stuff? Do you have some stuff lined up on that end?
Yeah. I've got a bunch of originals in the chamber. We've had some people approach for sure. I of course am always kind of looking at my family at Hood Politics too. These days, and it's no knock on any label. Like I have some really awesome labels approaching, and I'm down to work with them. I feel like in today's day and age, you know, it's up to you to be a personality, and being a personality is once you know that you make music that people want to play and listen to, like you have to put a personality around it to take it to the next level, and a label's not going to do that for you. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of right now I have some things happening with my remixes where I can wait a little bit on trying to sign originals, and I'm trying to make sure that my originals are reflective of who I want to be and reflective also of what I've done on SoundCloud over the past few years, because obviously like that
you want to line up.
Yeah, I think, and that's been kind of the main problem with my music for a while, is like my SoundCloud, it reflects one thing, my originals on Spotify reflect another. So the main focus of this year is to make my originals on Spotify and Apple Music reflect what you can see.
A similar sound to what a Proppa remix would be like, right?
Yeah. So that I think with what I have lined up right now, I can kind of relax and take the time to make sure that I'm like actually aligning that and finding out what the brand really is.
Yeah, so, that's good that you're not just like rushing to it.
Yeah, and I want to make sure I'm busy like with a release schedule, but and because I have stuff that like I can put out, but it's in terms of labels, like it's about I think that I got to cook a little bit more.
Yeah. So I think that is like probably the best way to break in a big way is doing remixes, right? Because then obviously DJs are more likely to open those promos because they're like, oh, Waka Flocka, I'd love to throw that in my sets. Yeah, that was was that like a calculated move where you're like originals weren't connecting as much, or?
Yeah, I mean,
I know you said you were building them for a while, but I'm just wondering if you were like, all right, let me not really do originals at all and just focus on remixes because I know it'll get the attention of the industry a bit more.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I came from like kind of like a bass music, future bass background, a bunch kind of a direction where songwriting is a lot different. I won't say it takes a backseat. It's just like different, the way that you structure songs and whatnot. When I came into bass house and tech house, it was kind of like I needed structural guides or maybe like melodic guides, if you will. And I felt like remixes were a perfect way to do it. And also just the big way that it actually came was, so I, during the pandemic, picked up one of those pandemic gigs where like people sit at tables and like you have to wear a mask and stuff, which turned into like a normal gig. Really small space. I was DJing for 6 hours, at least once a weekend, sometimes twice, at this little spot. And in Chicago, it's on this street where it's mainly all hip hop bars.
Okay. What's the venue? What was the venue called?
It's called Mickey's Park. It's a cool little spot. They do like Korean barbecue food. Like it's
dope.
It's a cool little spot, but it's not like a place where people are like where they're booking headliners, and you're kind of just like you're the DJ for the night. And the goal was it was like the crowd that was walking in was kind of like more looking for open format hip hop, and they wanted me to play house, which I was down for, but the goal like every week was to find like what gets people like
it's actually checks both boxes, right?
Yeah, so like it was hip hop remixes obviously, and then beyond that it was like certain remixes with like certain production cues, like certain things that like created moments, you know what I mean? So doing those, I was constantly looking for those, and then I started shaping my production around those. And I mean, I grew up in the, my kind of coming of age years were the 2000s, 2000s to the early 2010s. So like everything I remix is like kind of from that era.
Okay.
And then something I found through that was like so many people were a song would get popular, it hit number 1 on the Billboard, and then instantly every remix that on SoundCloud was just filled, like 30 remixes of that song. And something I've always known is like, how are you going to stand out amongst, when 30 people are remixing the same song? How are you going to stand out when, which remix is this? Like when a DJ's playing it. So I never wanted to be that person. I've been DJing for years and years and years since I was in high school. So I've always thought it's about remixing songs that are timeless, that like already, are like,
that people know, but it maybe doesn't have the moment right now or the spotlight right now, right?
You can bring a moment back, and the Waka Flocka remix, the Work remix, those are both songs that like I wouldn't necessarily say open format DJs were like still playing in their sets, they're amazing timeless songs. Anytime you heard them before we remix, like anytime you heard them, you'd be like, oh my god, this fucking song, like banger. but I feel like a lot of the electronic music crowd, like they hadn't heard them in so long, especially people around their 30s that heard those in high school and stuff. So like,
so it triggers those memories. And then,
yeah. So I'd always look for those songs that I can remix that people are like, dude, oh man, this song. And I feel like that's the key, because if you remix songs that are currently popular, like maybe it'll do well, but then people get tired of it. Like they get tired of hearing it on the dance floor for a while. So you have to like kind of like stop playing it, let it breathe. So I never want to do that, you know? And I also look for that. I'm constantly looking for like what makes those songs timeless. And now I'm looking for like how that can be incorporated into my originals, like hip hop timeless, like 2000s sound into my originals right now. You know? It's
weird when you see something like hit that precipice of people are like sick of hearing it.
Yeah.
Like I had it this past weekend. I was playing in Tampa, and just I'm gonna call it the track, but it was like it was Where You Are. And shit. I mean, both of them, people were just not reacting well, and I'm like, all right, that's got to be it. Yeah. I'm like, okay, that's it for me. I'm gonna take those out of my sets for now.
Yep.
And you just have to have that awareness as a DJ, you know, that at some points, even, you know, it was 3 months ago, those were the biggest tracks.
Yeah.
It's had its moment, and you got to move on. You got to find either whatever's next, or go back further down the line to a track that people haven't heard for a while.
Yeah,
and rinse that out.
It's like a lifespan.
It's a cycle. Yeah.
So
like it's good to have that awareness as a DJ.
Yeah.
Or else you become corny as shit real quick, and people are like, oh, that DJ.
Yeah.
sucked.
Yeah. True.
So I don't know. I had that. It was like an aha moment. I was like, okay, that's it. That's it for this.
Yeah. So you gotta be careful that it's especially when like a TV show is popular.
Yeah.
You know, and like the one thing I always reference back to is, and it's okay if you want to do this. Like I don't hate it. You know, if plenty of people are successful and they do these remixes and stuff, but I always want like every song. Like I want to be able to play it forever. So like when Stranger Things had the running up to that everyone remixed Kate Bush like immediately.
I did a remix of it.
You did a remix of it. I don't blame you, man, because like I wanted to do it so bad, but it just whenever I'm like about to do something, I'm like, I don't want to fight a bunch of people for like the most popular remix of this. You know?
In fairness, I did it for my own sets, and that would be a bit more unique. You know.
Yeah.
But I get that for sure.
Yeah.
Have you been rinsing out the White Lotus theme song at all? I'm still.
I have not. To be honest with you, I thought about it. I heard it, and I was like,
there's only because there. I mean, I don't know. The one I have, I think it might be. It was probably like Aoki or Dimitri. It was like one of the big DJs did it.
Yeah.
But it still plays out great. I will say that's one that I
mean, if you want to download one while it's hot, like I'm totally. Yeah. Like I'll grab it for sure. You know, I think maybe like when I get to a better state with my originals where I feel more comfortable about kind of the flow of that, I might get a little more unserious with like. Yeah. You know, not unserious, but more like, I don't know. You know, to test out the waters with different stuff. But I have such a backlog of songs that I want to remix, like songs that I already have a whole song
from your childhood. Are these mainly okay?
Yeah,
that's an interesting thing that you're pulling from your childhood, the nostalgic stuff for you.
They say to like it's like that's, and it's again, it's totally okay if you want to remix something that's currently popular. For me, when I'm remixing these songs from my childhood, like I'm tapping into a place that like means something to me. Like actually, like I'm actually being whatever the word authentic means that everyone uses. Like I'm actually being authentic because like I'm using these songs that me and my boys in the car used to just whole lot of money, you know, like I had so many moments to these songs. So to be able to create a version of them that I can now with a crowd like actually go nuts to is like, that's so
it's genuine.
Yeah. Like that's more meaningful to me than so much else that I could play. Yeah. Trying to like be, and a lot of people like be trendy. Like to me, be trendy is like remix whatever is like, I'm not going to remix whatever is like ultra popular, trendy. Like I'll be trendy with like, oh, people are messing with like, you know, FM basses in a weird way. How can I mess with it?
Yeah, you're doing it with your sound.
Yeah.
And you're sticking to like, I mean, you're definitely evolving. So what would you classify your remix sound as right now? Like
right now I just call it bass house. Okay. You know.
But it's up temp. Is it a bit like 130?
I'm like 130. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes I'll like go a little bit faster, but like I pretty much live around 130. Okay. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
But, yeah,
I'm loving the. feel like stuff is getting a bit quicker. At least I feel like the things that are playing out well for my sets are 133, 134.
Yeah.
I'm starting to make like progressive house at like 133.
Cool. Okay.
I love melodic stuff, and I did bass house and everything for a little bit as well. But I think I love the feels and the vocals and like that kind of stuff.
I don't blame you, bro. That's the stuff that got me into electronic music in the early 2010s, dude.
But I know it's not like the relevant sound right now, so it's tough because DJs won't really support that. But it's just what I love. So.
I think, but there's always this trade-off of like, usually if it's good music, if DJs won't play it, it'll probably stream well.
Yeah, find its audience.
Yeah, like it'll probably have an audience that like enjoys,
relates to that genre.
Yeah. So I think you're in a good boat with that.
Yeah. It's fun. All right, so you can't announce tours or shows.
Oh, I can announce shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you got coming?
After Miami Music Week, I'm in Vegas on the 5th.
Okay.
Do you know the venue? 5th. It's called La Mona Rosa with Revelation. Yeah. Okay. And then I'm at both trios on the 18th and 19th in North and South Carolina.
Tell Eric I say hello.
Word, yeah. I've heard every time I've mentioned that gig to people, everyone's like, "Oh, dude, let's go."
Eric with the tequila bottle is gonna be.
They're like, "I'm excited for you to experience that hospitality." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, I love trio.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. And then I have Larimer Lounge at the end of the month on the 26th. So. I played like I don't really call it, during the pandemic, I played like a pandemic gig in Colorado. This is my Colorado debut.
Yeah. Okay, sick.
What else? So I got a bunch coming up. San Diego, Wonderfront Music Festival.
Okay.
Playing in, I haven't announced that one yet. The other ones I can't remember what else I have. So we'll leave it at
all
that.
over the U.S. We'll watch the Instagram for announcements for that.
Yeah.
And then I'm excited to see how you evolve as an artist because I think you're hitting that level where you're just starting to take off.
Thank you.
So it's going to be really interesting. So we got to get you back on here in like a year or so.
Yeah.
Once you're all over the world and see how the travel has affected you and stuff.
For sure. Yeah. Maybe we get some bags under my eyes if I don't already have them. Yeah.
So it's a badge of honor.
Yeah.
Thank you again for coming out and doing this. I'm looking forward to see the future of Proppa.
Thank you for having me, man. Brother. Appreciate it, dude. Thanks.